Hello everyone and welcome to another video on the channel. I am going to be doing a spoiler recap and review for episodes 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian. The episode 2 just dropped like 40 minutes ago. I just set up everything because I wanted to talk about it, and also I didn't get a chance to talk about episode 1. So I can also cover that as well in this video. Week 1 of Disney Plus, I watched a bunch of things. The Jeff Goldblum show, which is ridiculous, and I loved it. Of course, we had The Mandalorian, we had Lady and the Tramp, which I did watch and I did actually really enjoy. But we are here to talk about Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. You can fight me about that one. I actually do like The Last Jedi, but, you know, all the people can click off from that. But we are talking about The Mandalorian today, and I absolutely loved the first episode. But this second episode, my god, this show is incredible. So let's just jump right into it. We're going to do a recap and review, and I'll say it once again, spoilers for episodes 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian. If you've not seen it, get Disney Plus. What are you doing if you have not gotten Disney Plus yet? Come on, there's the whole catalog of old Disney, new Disney, Pixar, Marvel, everything's on there. Get Disney Plus. Let's talk about The Mandalorian. Alright, so episode 1 of The Mandalorian starts off with this mysterious character, this Mandalorian played by Pedro Pascal, going into this bar and, trying to find one of his bounties. He takes the guy, then he, freezes him in carbonite, and you quickly find out that this series takes place about 5 years after the events of Return of the Jedi. So the Empire has fallen. They make that pretty clear in this episode that the Empire has fallen. You have the whole scene with him and Carl Weathers, I think that's his name, and that whole scene with him giving him the bounties and getting the rewards, and him not wanting to continue doing these smaller bounties, and he asked for a bigger catch, something bigger, a bigger mission for him to go on, and that's where our plot really begins. So Carl Weathers sends him on a mission that's kind of off the records. This isn't an official bounty from the guild. This is kind of separate. This is low-key. All he's given is the tracker, and he's given the last 4 digits of the I guess the serial number for the person, which says it's 50 years old. They're looking for this 50-year-old character somewhere on this planet. He has a tracking thing, and he's off on this mission to find this, and he goes to the one and the only Werner Herzog to get all this information, which is an excellent scene. You see these beat up stormtroopers that are just they look like they've been through hell. Like I said, this is after the Empire has fallen, so this is really just the last remnants of this. Werner Herzog is like one of the last Imperial officers who's still around. He kind of ran off to the outer edges of the galaxy. He's kind of in hiding, and he's still trying to do his thing, and he wants this thing. He wants this creature. He has a bounty for this thing to either be terminated or for it to be brought back alive, which I will talk about in a minute here. But a lot of setup in this first episode. I do think the first episode is really good. I love the first episode. I was completely hooked in from the beginning. The action scenes, everything. But the last 20 minutes is what really got me sold on this show, because it has a little bit of like some quirky moments with some creatures, especially I don't remember the creatures that they ride with Nick Nolte's character, which the unsung hero of the entire series so far. Nick Nolte as this Ugnaught is perfect. I think his name is like KUIIL or something like that. I have no idea how to pronounce the name, but he is fantastic. I have spoken. I love that line. I think everybody loves that line. This guy is great. But so that continues on. They go to this planet, and he's tracking down this mysterious creature that he's trying to find. And you get the IG-11 scene where Taika Waititi is voicing this robot character, and he is just awesome. And the team up with him and the Mandalorian taking on this entire station of all these people protecting this one thing, and you still at this point do not know what they're protecting, but they need to get into this room, and they take out all the people, and it's a very, very funny scene. This episode wasn't as funny as the second episode, which I will get into because it is hysterical. But this first one, the IG-11 character does add some humor with the self-destruct thing that I absolutely loved. This entire action sequence in the last 20 minutes of this episode is probably my favorite thing to come out of this show. Maybe. I think I've seen that episode probably about 3 times now. I've seen this new episode once, so some things might push me over the edge to liking episode 2 better, or at least the action scenes in episode 2 better. But this entire last 20 minutes is incredible. They wipe all these people out, and you find out that inside this installation there is this pod, and it's not it is a 50-year-old creature, but it is a Yoda creature, which blew my mind. Like I said, spoilers, guys. I tweeted this out. Check out my Twitter at the UR Movies. I tweeted out like everybody's reaction after watching the end of episode 1 of The Mandalorian. And it's like guy freaking out, and it's like, or it's Jim Carrey, and I think in Liar Liar or something like that, and he's like touching his face, like, oh, and he's like mind blown and he's freaking out, right? That was me at the end of the episode. But this is where we really get into the questions I had after episode 1, which is, who is trying to find this Yoda creature? First of all, we don't know the species of Yoda. We don't know what species he is. I looked it up. We have never explored this in Star Wars history, which is why I was so shocked that this show, The Mandalorian of all things, that's supposed to be about bounty hunters and about this Mandalorian guy and the bounty hunting kind of world and the underworld type aspect of that. But we're getting a lot of Force stuff. We're getting this Yoda creature that we don't know where the origins of this 50-year-old baby is. We don't know the origin of this creature, and we don't even know what to call it yet. I might call him Yodi. Yodi is this Yoda creature that's the Mandalorian is trying to protect, and that's what's set up at the end of the episode. So what is Werner Herzog going after here? Is he trying to terminate him? Because you got IG-11. Who hired IG-11 to find it? Because, you know, they interact with each other and they're like, oh, I didn't know anybody else was going after this prize. And so you get a lot of questions like, okay, these people guarding this Yodi creature, are they good? Are they really the bad guys? Did he just wipe out a bunch of people who are trying to protect this creature? Because I don't know if you want to turn in this Yodi creature to Werner Herzog in that group, or to whoever IG-11 was hired by. I don't know if there's two different parties, if it's the same party that's going after this creature. What is going on with all this? And how do they know about this creature? There's a lot of questions you get just from that one small reveal, and all these different things. It's just, I did not know The Mandalorian was going to go in this direction whatsoever. The marketing did a great job at setting up what the tone would be, because the tone is very much like it is in all the trailers, but the story is so much more ambitious and different than I thought it would be just by watching the trailers. And now we have episode 2, which is called The Child. There's actually a subtitle for this episode. So chapter 2, The Child. And this episode starts off with, the Mandalorian walking off with this Yodi creature floating next to him. And it's just, the music at the beginning of this episode is incredible. I love the score by Ludwig Göransson. A lot of people are kind of iffy on the Rocky type score, because he did do the Creed movies, and he did Black Panther and a bunch of other stuff. He's a great composer, and I love the score in this movie. And people have issues with that one scene that kind of sounds like Rocky, and it happens a few more times in this episode. And I really don't mind it, because it's a great theme. It's a great score, and I think people will get used to it by the end of the series. But I'm really liking the score so far. So the episode starts off with the Mandalorian taking on this, like, basically he's babysitting this Yodi character, and this thing is just following him around. It kind of reminded me of Forky, because there's sometimes where this Yodi creature, I still don't know what to call it, this child would get out of this little floating crib thing and then walk around, and it was hilarious. It eats a frog. Like, this thing inhales an entire frog, which is just, I didn't know I needed a baby Yoda swallowing a frog in my life, but now I have it, and I'm so grateful that I have it. But essentially what this episode is about is the Jawa creatures, which, obviously we got in the original A New Hope movie, the original Star Wars, these Jawa creatures. And, if you were to ask me, like, a week ago, if I thought there would be an action scene where the Mandalorian takes on and disintegrates a bunch of Jawas, I would have never believed you in a million years that is a scene in this movie. When he starts disintegrating these things, it was so funny. I love this. Like, I know maybe it's a little dark for me to say, okay, we're disintegrating all these cute little Jawa creatures, but who cares? It was a hilarious sequence, and it's actually a really good action scene where he's taking on the Jawas, like, the ship, their scavenging ship, because they basically tore apart his entire ship, which I actually really do like the Mandalorian ship, but they basically tore it all apart from scraps, and they took off, and he's chasing after this thing, and he has like his rope attached to it, and he's trying to climb up the wall, and they're like throwing stuff at him, and they're shocking him with things, and it's a very, very entertaining sequence. This is like, I think that scene might actually maybe rival the IG-11 scene in the first episode, although that entire sequence was incredible in the first episode, but this one is very solid as well. And the Jawas kind of take him out, he falls, and he goes to seek out the KUIIL character, the Ugnaught, Nick Nolte again, and you have a full adventure with him trying to bargain with the Jawas. And this is like, who knew that they would do this in this episode? I had no idea. And this the entire show, because the first episode was, I think, 39 minutes, and this one's only 32 minutes. And I don't mind that, because the pacing in these episodes, there is no filler whatsoever. They move things really fast. So when you have these Jawa things, they pretty much wrap up the entire episode in this entire plot point in this entire episode by him getting his ship fixed, because he went and fought this rhino thing, which we got one of the coolest things in this show that I would have never guessed happened. The Yodi character is there floating around while he's fighting this rhino creature, and you guessed it, we got it. Yodi has the Force, and This thing is powerful. This Yoda character lifted the entire giant rhino with his force powers, and it's like, what? This 50-year-old baby just lifted a rhino easily. What is this? So yeah, I was squirming in my chair watching this scene. It was just so satisfying, and it really beat up this Yoda character. He was knocked out for the rest of the day. It's like all the power that this character just used to lift up this rhino, and the Mandalorian was finally able to take it out, and it's just, my lord. And they gave the egg to the Jawas, and the Jawas start eating it, and it's super weird and just bizarre, and it feels very much like Star Wars. The humor in this episode, when they're I forgot the word they were saying for the egg, and it was so, hold on, give me 1 second. Suga. Yeah, these Jawa characters are hilarious. Just screaming Suga, because they really want this egg from this rhino creature, which is, I loved this episode. This is so good. I loved everything about this. The humor in this episode felt very much like Star Wars, very much original trilogy. These Jawa characters, I just tweeted this out. Like, I would have never guessed that this show would go and tackle these things in Star Wars that you really wouldn't have thought that the Bounty Hunter show would tackle, and these subjects that they're doing, because not only are they kind of exploring the history of the Yoda character, which we've never gotten before. Like I said, we don't even know the name of the species of this thing, and we're actually exploring that in this show, which is insane. And not only that, we got a full sequence with Jawas that, like, who knew? Just who knew this show would do that? So I don't know. I'm blown away. There wasn't really much progression in terms of plot in this episode when it comes to, who ordered the call to get these or this Yoda character to capture him. Like, who's making the order, who's calling why do they want this creature, which I think I know why they want it. It's a force using creature, very powerful, and like, as we know now in this episode, we got a lot of development with what this creature is and what abilities it has, and why people might want this thing to be terminated, because obviously the IG character really wanted to terminate the thing. So I think we're getting a lot of setup with the character, and the Mandalorian is getting attached to it, and you can see that this character, he is a good person. I think he is a good person, although he does some bad things. He disintegrates a bunch of Jawas and is completely fine with it, which I'm also completely fine with it. So I don't know what this guy is. He's very much a mysterious character, and you're really trying to figure out what this guy's motivations is. And, I think this show is going to dig very deep into character. And that's what I'm really hoping. Because right now we just have a bunch of teases. Episode 1 was very much a tease of his character and a bunch of setup. The flashbacks that you got very briefly when he was in the Mandalorian, cave center thing that they were in, where he built his armor. And there's that other, female Mandalorian character, that the armorer. And she looked awesome as well. Like, the entire production design, the production value, and the CGI in this episode was much better than the first episode. I thought it was fantastic. This rhino character, or the rhino creature, looked incredible for a TV budget. I was blown away by everything. And the puppet Yoda, the practical effects in this, the Jawas, everything about this episode I loved. The Mandalorian is off on a great start. I will be probably doing a video every week for this show, so make sure you guys subscribe to the channel just for that. And hopefully this isn't the end of Nick Nolte's character. I think maybe for this season for now, or maybe just for a few episodes, we won't see this Ugnaught character, because, he has spoken. He will not be joining the Mandalorian on his adventures in space, because, like I said, they fixed the ship in a nice montage, so this show really does not waste time. Like, they got this entire ship, the storyline wrapped up in this one episode. You got a lot of character stuff in this episode, and they're off moving once again. So although they are short episodes, like I said, I didn't mind, because the pacing is very well. It's very tight. There's not much room to mess around and to really not get things done. This was a very solid episode. I think I like this better than the first episode. I love this show thus far. Subscribe to the channel to see more videos of my thoughts on The Mandalorian as it comes out. I'll be doing spoiler recap reviews probably every week, depending on how the episode is. So I'm excited to talk about The Mandalorian, and I hope you guys are too. Comment below what your thoughts are on this episode, full of spoilers and all. If I missed anything, or if I didn't talk about anything and you want to hear me talk about it, comment below. I'll either cover it in the next episode, or I'll comment below. I'll respond to you guys. So thanks, guys, for watching this recap and review for episodes 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian. I am hyped for this show. This is... it's Star Wars. Like, come on. You can't go wrong with Star Wars. Like, maybe you can go a little wrong with Star Wars, but I guess there's the prequels too. But hey, this is good Star Wars. This is in between 6 and 7. This is great uncharted territory that we've never explored before in a lot more ways than just the time period and the characters. it is exciting. Thanks guys for watching and subscribe to the channel. I hope to see you all in my next one.